up, guys, and welcome to today's YouTube video. So, in today's YouTube video, well, it's one of these. You can definitely tell. Anyways, let's get right on to the scenario. Alright, so in the last episode, we saw Russia basically collapse. And, well, Mongolia get more land. And since I don't know where Mongolia's actual capital, I'm just gonna place down another capital for them. I'll place it down right here. Where's it? I could be wrong, but I think that's where it actually is. IRL. Yeah. The next thing is, well, honestly, I don't really plan out episodes, but I feel like what should be talked about is the remaining of Russia, the old Russia. Most of the old Russia is toxic waste, but only one area isn't toxic waste. So the old government has to build a city there. It's now their capital city, and they make an alliance with this China. So, what? So, now all we gotta do is... So, Russia and China are now allies again. So, I just want to show y'all something real quickly. So here is the updated strength. Number 1 is the US. Number 2 is India. Number 3 is Ukraine, even though it says 5. Number 4 is Japaria. And number 5 is China. So let's just update Ukraine real quick. Alright. The time is 2052. April 6th. And at this day, something has happened in the US. The new leader has announced something. A robotic prototype that could make you live on for years and years. Now, at this time, I would be an adult. So, when I'm an adult, I'd be approximately 35. So, I have a lot of rights. And the year before, I don't know what year, what it would be, but 1 year in the past, before this, there would be an election. And there was this president who said that they'd do something shocking. I really like surprises, so I'd vote for that president. And apparently, that was the surprise. So, at this year, he makes an early prototype. And my grandpa would already be leaving the world soon. So if this backfires, well, then, my grandpa, Yeah. But I would sign my grandpa up for the first person for that to happen to. And that is the first person that was released out public. Because there were people that were like scientists that probably did it before. But anyways, what happens next? Okay, so I signed my grandpa up for this. And, well, the experiment goes well. And this actually works. So, who else tries it? Since my parents would already be sort of old, my parents seeing the success of my grandpa, they would, do the same. And I don't know if I said this already in here or not, but after my parents try it on and it was a success, I try it on. And it's a success also. However, the next person who puts it on, it malfunctions. People wonder why it malfunctioned. But the truth comes out that person, there was a specific number on people who try it. And after that number was finished, it was basically like a countdown. A group of people would finish those other people off. Because these don't make you immortal. They just make you live for thousands upon thousands upon thousands of years. So, now that my family has tried all of them, this actually spreads out to a lot of people. And then it goes from demo to public. But it's only public to people in NATO. But let's just show green on all of the people who have done it. Actually, instead of green, that's kind of like a toxic color, let's actually use yellow. Alright, so I put yellow over it. A lot of people in the US decides to do it. And to be honest, the only blue that's showing of them is really because no one really lives in those parts. And the only people like right here, I feel like I should also probably color in this too. All of them in Canada, yeah, they did it. Italy, like Ukraine, Turkey, and, Israel are kind of suspicious of it. But, yeah. Anyways, now I feel like we should get into another war. And this war actually is what I like to call the Asian War. Why do I call it the Asian War, you might ask? Because this war happens in some Asian countries. And by some, I mean a lot of them. So, I'm gonna basically, you know, just look at the map and I'll tell you which countries are joining and not. Also, I'm updating the countries' borders who joined because their borders definitely changed. Alright, let me explain what the new borders look like and why they are. Indonesia was able to take some of Malaysia, and that made since Indonesia was collapsing, they gave the northern areas of Borneo to the Filipinos. East Timor also owns all of this land now. I'm just joking, not all of that. But they do own this. The Star Island, which I don't really have a name for, claims all of this. Java becomes its own country. And that loud noise in the background is just the lawnmower. And Indonesia only now has these two areas. Thailand took the first part of Malaysia. They took that part before the Philippines took the other part. But after the Thai took that land, Vietnam and this other country invaded them, forcing them to unite with Myanmar to lead their countries to, not collapse. Vietnam invaded Cambodia, and they got a lot of land. Like, originally they looked like this, and the Cambodian land was like this. However, they invaded Cambodia. And then that's how they invaded Thailand. However, after the invasion of Cambodia, these two nations decided to unite in order for them to not collapse. Because Vietnam also invaded Thailand, but it was very small since, it's hard to invade in Vietnam. Ask America. They know all about it. Anyways, jokes aside, let's actually show what happened this war. So, what happens is, for the first thing, since this is just alignment to them, they actually get to have their own alliance. And their alliance contains of this country, which I'm just gonna call, we actually do need a name for this. Timor? Yeah, Timor. That just sounds so good. Timor. So this nation of the name of Timor joins their alliance along with the Philippines with their land. And also, I got to just put the placement of capitals real quick. And also for this country, so they don't get invaded, they actually put the capital in Myanmar's capital right there. Vietnam's capital right here. Super easy to remember. I forgot where this country's capital was. I forgot the name. But I'm just going to place it right there. I don't remember where Bangladesh's capital is, so I'm just going to put it right there. Nepal's capital is right here. Alright. I think that's all of the countries. Alright. Now it's time to actually show them the war. So what happens is something else entirely happens. Wait, was Japan in NATO? Hold up. I think Japan was. Oh yeah, I think it was NATO. And if it was not, it's now NATO. North Ocean Treaty Alliance thing. Whatever it was called. Anyways, now let's actually get into the war. China invades this country, causing for its two allies to also start invading. However, Bangladesh does want land out of India, which they, as soon as Bangladesh declares war, and this is like out of convenience. Yeah. Actually, no. These two would not be on the same alliance. There's no way. Especially because of what just happened. So as soon as they see that, they make their own alliance. So, it consists of these three nations. And what does this have to link up with? Well, but at this point of time, this country has actually grown close to Vietnam. And since China is getting invaded, and since Vietnam hates China, they also start to invade China, which just makes this a whole bunch of mess. They're at war with two other nations. Well, two other sides. And the Asian War has just begun, friendo. I'm not going that ever again. Well, they decide to join India's alliance because they want protection from China just in case they do actually win. And out of pure hate, they join the other alliance. And also, we gotta add their capitals right there. Alright. So, now, Asia is at war. However, one country does back another. Them. Anyways, Japaria also backs them. So let's actually get into the fighting now. Because there's been no fight. So, the first thing that happens is, well, out of pure hatred, what just happened? Out of pure hatred, Kyrgyzstan goes straight in to invade. Their invasions are minuscule, but they do actually mean business. However, meanwhile, while they're getting kind of destroyed, they just cut off a part of Kyrgyzstan. So all of these troops surrender onto them, and the capital city is in threat just like theirs. And also, since they're on the outskirts of their capital, they push them back, and this whole entire side surrenders because, yeah, look above here. Anyways, while that's happening, actual forces on the other fronts are happening too, such as India reclaiming lost land. Yeah, they go into Bangladesh and just destroy them. However, India will be unable to get into Nepal because of mountains. Well, they will, but barely. They will, however, be able to get. Why did I place Nepal's capital right there? Their capital is not right there. I know where Nepal's capital is. Their capital, I'm pretty sure, is in the middle of the country. Anyways, troops from this team will actually come in. Oops, wrong area. So what happens is this country will actually get into Vietnam. And it looks like they'll win. However, Vietnam does start pushing back. And they even go up from the north of their country, cutting the forces off. Also, they start to rapidly encircle the capital city until this whole entire area is like there. Forces here will actually go back. And those forces are chased by troops. And they go straight into the capital city, allowing these troops to get into the capital city and destroy the capital city. And after that, they just, this collapse is so much that at this point, well, there are now forces that just want to join up on Vietnam. They're just tired of this and they just want it to be over. And government officials flee to another country. So, they're captured and presumably dead. Now to the area that started all of the war. And since Beijing is right there, they just, yeah, it's easily gone. China should they should have moved their capital city. However, that moving their capital city was in their plans, it's just they forgot to. And these forces are very weak because, well, China is stronger than this whole entire area. But it is going well. But now it's time to show something else happen. This country also is Taiwan, so Taiwanese forces just sneak up from the side. Not only getting in this area and starting to push, but they also land in multiple areas across the coastline. And this one was actually backed with help from, well, Japaria. But yeah. Japan, do not go back to old times. And as they actually see something, Japaria actually joins this war. And they invade more into China. They cut through China. Because at this point, they're stronger than China. China collapsed. And now they're just making China even weaker. Nothing has presumed to stop these Japanese individuals. Japarine forces. So Russia just is destroyed right on the spot. Anyways, Vietnam helps them. And India, well, forces start to ramp up because, well, yeah, just look at this city. It's now Indian. I mean, Bangladesh was, I think, originally in India. However, very minuscule forces come, and they barely manage to take the capital city. And also, I could just, yeah, now it's a major city. And also, they just surrender. Because there's no point in fighting on the other lands. You're weak. And even if you do win that area, you're still gonna lose your capital. And probably get cut in half. But what happens is India actually is presumed to be winning. India's team, of course. So, next thing, actual forces from, which country? are actually done with just even trying. So they just straight up invade. There's not even a declaration of war. They just straight up invade Kyrgyzstan. They just are done with this. Yeah, they just want the war to be over. So they take all of that, and one country surrenders because they can't really keep up their land anymore, and that's China. Anyways, let's see the peace treaty. Alright, this is the peace treaty. So, Japaria gets all of this, while meanwhile Taiwan, which is now China, gets all of the other China. And now they are the only China. And also the biggest China. India finally gets their Kashmir claims, with also getting Nepal and, well, you know now. They also have a border dispute with Myanmar because Thailand and Myanmar split up after the war because, well, stability. And also they just disagreed on things they wanted. So they collapsed. They split up into two separate nations. One staying in the alliance and one not. So, finally, so after that dispute, what happened was India, now that Myanmar would be claimed, Myanmar wouldn't be stable. So these two countries would propose on an idea, with Thailand getting this and this area, China, aka Taiwan, getting all of this, and India getting all, that. And that was almost there for a second until Myanmar Myanmar said no. And then when the meeting ended, tensions were high between those four countries. Except only three of those countries have one enemy. And that one enemy is the fourth country. Yeah. Anyways, after that, the final war of today. Well, not the final war, but the final event. I mean, it is a war, but yeah. So, troops go into their claimed spots. So they'd officially get them. Myanmar does not like this at all. But they're too weak to stop it. So, as soon as the Indian troops go in, those other troops come in too. Chinese troops right here, aka Taiwanese troops, and Thai troops right here. The Thai troops take all of their land, and now it's just over. Now all they have to do is come here, take the capital, which is what they do, and they end up taking the land they wanted. Justice is served, and let's look at this peace treaty, where this country is officially gone. That is it for today, everyone. So, I hope you liked today's YouTube video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and see y'all in the next video.